Well, hello there. How are you going today? Hope you're having a fantastic time. Thanks for joining me. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic 2. And of course, autodidactic means to be self-educated. And that's what we do here. We check out what's going on in the strange realm we find ourselves in, and we come to our own conclusions. So this is for entertainment only. I've got to say that, right? All allegedly. But yeah, most of all, don't believe anything that I say or that you hear on the videos. Make up your own mind. Be self-educated.
Okay, so I guess I have become like a book reporter or something. You guys are blowing me up about all my videos about that ancient book I have because I had a library and then I inherited a library. So there's some stuff I have to share with you. In this book, okay, in this book, it's called The Mysterious Case of Rudolph Diesel. You don't understand. This is like mind blowing. Listen. Rudolph Diesel, the diesel engine, the most impeccable freaking piece of machinery ever made, other than, I won't say that. I mean, it is amazing, but I do believe that Victor Schauberger had some ideas for some pretty freaking cool engines as well. But we are only using like a micro fraction of what the diesel engine is supposed to be used for, what its potential is. Like it has been constricted to be only used for one kind of part of its technological capabilities if they implemented it. So listen to this. Rudolph Diesel, when he started making this engine, every freaking military in the world is like, yo, we need that now. He became like a VIP or like serious person of interest that they had to protect, but they wanted to control, but they didn't want someone to whack him, and they wanted to keep his patents and all of his technologies. Rudolph Diesel, like smart freaking cookie, dude, diesel engine. His plan, though, he had like a utopian plan for the diesel engine because it was supposed to be used with peanut oil. Like he wanted people to be able to grow, the nation, grow its own fuel. He had no plans for the apparently waste product of like gasoline is diesel. Like it's something that otherwise they were like discarding, but he figured out a way to use it. And it has all these benefits that you could not replace. Like when they're talking about electric transport trucks, good luck, dude. Unless we're talking electric like Nikola Tesla's style electric wireless frequency device and whatnot, this lithium battery thing and Elon Musk, I will say Nikola Tesla is rolling in his grave that they put his name on that electric car. That has nothing to do with any of the ideas that he ever had. And in fact, it's like an inverse, it's a play on words. But so I find it interesting that in the early 1900s, this guy's talking about making an engine that runs on vegetable oil. And now, over 100 years later, we are still using gasoline and diesel. Think about this for a second. Our computers, like your computer used to be the size of a room. Now it's this phone I'm looking at. Like computer technology went through the roof. You're telling me engine technology just stayed stale and small and it doesn't improve at all? Like they are constricting and stopping the growth and abundance and prosperity of what we can do with these engines and upgrades and whatnot. And it's seemingly because if you grew 1 million acres of peanuts and, hemp and stuff and use the oil from those plants to power nations, well, then you're getting into a little bit too organically-ness. You're getting a bit too organic. They want synthetic. They want something that you can't do yourself. Is this why the prohibition happened, by the way? Because people were putting that stuff in their freaking engines. They're running the original gasoline engine, from my understanding, like pure, that stuff that they made during the prohibition was their gas. Like they could drive on it. So I'm just saying, we may have been duped more than we may think. Now, stay tuned for more book report videos. I've literally opened 3 pages on my ancient book, and this is 1 page of my Rudolph Diesel book. I have a billion books we have to discuss. Comment any topic you want discussed, comment below, and I surely have a book on it.
Yes, we're definitely being duped more than we think we are, for sure. And it's the same old story, right? Men and women come up with this amazing technology, and the parasites, the elites, they steal it and they change it so they can use it against us, so they can charge us for it, right? So it can become a system of enslavement. The reason that Rudolph Diesel invented it in the first place was to help farmers. Basically, the idea was that they could use their crops and even, like the stalks and things of their crops to make the fuel to run all their machinery. So basically they could run their machinery for free. And, vegetable oils, are not polluting, right? They don't put out all the toxic gases into the atmosphere. But of course, the Rockefellers, J.D. Rockefeller and Standard Oil couldn't have that, right? Because they wanted everyone to pay them money to run their machinery, right? So, clearly those who are in control at the moment, they don't care. They don't want us to be free. They don't want the world to be fixed, yet they keep harping on about, global warming and climate change. But that's all a scam and a fraud because they could clearly, basically, they've done everything they can to create this problem. Not that the problem is as big as they tell us it is, right? The world is not going to explode. They're not going to beat nature, but it's the same old story, isn't it? And interesting what he said about alcohol and running your cars on alcohol, right? Ethanol. They do still run cars on ethanol, but now it's relegated to, racing cars, right? And dragsters and things like this. But back in the day, you could run anything, an average engine off ethanol. Of course, now they've changed the engine so that you need to buy their petrol. And with diesel, they've created a synthetic diesel, complete with all the chemicals and crap that comes out of your exhaust pipe.
So as the better people in the UK clearly realised, we've just had the hottest year on record and it's now the driest it's ever been in the UK. And because we simply don't have water anymore, we're probably going to need to have, I should think at least a hosepipe ban by January and probably standpipes by about, March sometime. And also, as the climate scientists have so rightly predicted, we may never see snow again. And actually in parts of Scotland right now, you can't see snow because there's so much fucking snow, you can't work out what's snow and what isn't. And so I'd just like to say, on behalf of all the better people who understand climate science, rock on, to my oat milk loving vegan friends, how much better it is to cover entire swathes of useful farmland in non-recyclable solar panels that have been shipped all the way from China and have chemicals and minerals in them that we have no idea how we're going to recycle. That is necessary action right now. Good. Motherfucker.
Katie, yeah, right. Climate change. This is what's going on. That they put all this death and doom and destruction, on the 2D world, on the screens, on the TVs, and all that kind of stuff, and they keep pumping it out. That the world is dying, right? And whose fault is it? Well, of course, it's our fault. It's our fault, and the cows, because the cows keep farting, right? But it just goes to show it. They say all this stuff all the time, and you may have seen with the weather reports, right? When it gets warm and temperatures that these countries have had forever, now if it is a warm temperature, they're like, oh my God, everything's red, and they're like, it's a complete fire hazard. Oh my God, it's a heat wave. They're doing it in Australia at the moment. I actually caught a bit of the weather the other day, and yeah, they showed Australia and it was all red. It was all red. Oh my God, it's a heat alert. Oh my God, Australia's going to explode. But the truth is, Mother Nature is fine. And like I said before, they're not going to beat Mother Nature. This is all a scam so that they can bring in more restrictions, right? So that they can get everyone into driving an electric car, right? Which just happens to be made of plastic with the lithium battery created by child labour. And, they can't break these cars down. How are they going to deal with these lithium batteries? They can't do it already, but they're telling everyone they need to buy them. Why is that? Well, because with an electric car, you can decide how far they are going to travel. Probably 15 minutes, right, each way. Because the plan ultimately is to get us all in 15-minute cities. And of course, they're all hooked up to the internet and AI, and they can shut them down and all this kind of stupidity. And we know we had electric cars back in 1900 and before that were running on lead acid batteries, and they were much more efficient and less polluting than the cars we have today.
Plants were always toxic to us. Meat never was. This is a list of meat that is deadly toxic to humans. Polar bear liver, because it's high in vitamin A. Too much vitamin A will kill us. Raw shark, because it's high in urea. We've got the puffer fish, it's a neurotoxin, and the Nemora jellyfish. I don't think humans spent much time trying to hunt those guys. These are the only meats that are toxic to us. We can eat anything else. You want a lizard? Go for it. You want a chipmunk? Go for it. You can eat any kind of thing that moves. But plants, more than 700 species of plants in the United States and Canada alone are deadly toxic.
Well, there you go. What do you think about that, right? A bit controversial. Sorry, vegans, but the whole vegan thing is a scam, clearly, right? Number one is it's all about fake meat, right? That's just an inroads to get into where we are now, right? With more fake meat and genetically modified meat and lab-grown cloned meat, right? Basically synthetic food. And we've seen what's going on with the food system. And it's true what she says. Most plants are toxic to us. They actually secrete chemicals and toxins to stop us and animals in general from eating them, and they communicate. So if one plant's getting eaten, it'll send out signals and all the other plants around it will start secreting chemicals, basically, to save themselves from being eaten, right, and being killed. But it is true that the meat, at least natural meat, and we're talking natural, right, not all this meat raised in sheds and all this grain-fed crap, but natural, free roaming, free range, grass-fed meat is not toxic to us. I think this is why the carnivore diet has suddenly jumped up in the last few years and veganism has sort of disappeared. And I was a vegan for quite a few years, and what I never understood was the whole fake meat, the whole vegan meat sort of industry, right? Because the whole thing about being vegan is you should just be eating vegetables and fruit. You shouldn't be trying to replace meat with fake meat, because you've just stepped into a much worse diet, right? But please, let me know your thoughts and be kind, vegans.
And that level of heat that was required to melt brick was worldwide. Look at this area. The bricks are melted like stalactites here. That's why I've said many times there have been numerous resets in this world. It wasn't just one great flood. It wasn't just the mud flood. It's impossible to know just how many times humanity has been reset. But we can definitely see the scars from some of these reset cataclysmic scenarios. Unlike history's last reset, known as the mud flood, these older red brick buildings show not just extreme forms of heat, where bricks will literally melt again like stalactites, but it is not nearly as uniformed, not nearly as uniformed as the mud flood. You will find buried buildings in nearly every city and every town. Unlike this reset scene, these scorched and charred buildings are not uniformed, are not found in every town, but they are still found worldwide. But was it caused naturally, perhaps by a plasma storm or other such event? Or was it caused by some lost technology, a destruction caused by our own hands? In such a massive scale, it took the history and the people there to tell it, along with it. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Question everything, especially the videos that you find on social media. So that first bit that he showed, that cave, well, it's an old storage depot is what it is. It's in Russia. I've studied that, the one with the stalactites, the melted brick. That was caused by a chemical fire that started there and burnt for a long time and obviously created a lot of heat. And it's inside. So that's not to do with an outside event. And, there's definitely melted buildings out there. Don't get me wrong. There are lots of them. There's some really good ones in Russia. Turkey, the castle of King Midas, that's a good one to look at. But I've done videos on them. There's definitely melted objects, buildings out there. There are. But this whole, that they call themselves meltologists, the whole meltology niche, I guess we'll call it, some of the photos they show, they just don't make any sense. Like they'll tell you that cobblestone roads are brick roads where the cobblestones have been superheated and they call it popcorning, right? The popcorn effect. Now, I've looked into this and I've never found any evidence that bricks expand, right, to twice their size and more from heat. Most bricks, or the way they make bricks is they heat them, right, in kilns. So most of the time they shrink. They definitely don't double in size. They can melt for sure, but you might have noticed some of the pictures that they showed there, and it has brick and then it has a rock wall, right? And then brick in the same building. So the meltologist will tell you that the rocks used to be bricks and they got superheated and they popcorned, right? They blew up, doubled their size. Well, if that's true, how is the wall still standing? That's my question. Because if every brick in that wall doubled in size, that wall is going to collapse. It's definitely still, it's not going to be the same height as it used to be, clearly, if all the bricks have doubled in size. So most of that stuff is either buildings being built on to old buildings, old buildings being repurposed and they're using bricks. Some of the buildings that he showed, they're buildings built into rocks or in old foundations. But in my opinion, at least, they are not bricks that have doubled in size through heat in this popcorning effect that they love to talk about. But let me know your thoughts. Are you a meltologist? What do you think about that? And do you really think that bricks can double in size? So you would double the size of the wall, right? That got heated and can still stand up? That all the mortar beds are still going to be in the same place and it's going to be structurally sound? That makes absolutely no sense at all.
It's funny, motorized scooters are all the rage today, especially the electric ones with those nice lithium batteries. But this was yet again another technology the old world already had, in well-established use in both gas and electric. Just like the electric cars today, nothing more than cheaply made replicas, poorly made replicas of technology the old world already had. The innovation of the old world was endless. All the best and most efficient technology you see here from the past was of course shelved by the parasites until they could reinvent it for a profit further down the line. Like this monowheel motorcycle, got over 100 miles per gallon for its fuel efficiency. And this too also came in electric. This monowheel looks like it would be great for the Wisconsin winters, riding it on the frozen lakes. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Well, I definitely wouldn't recommend driving one of those on a frozen lake. I don't know a lot about frozen lakes. I'm from Australia, but it seems a bit dangerous. You might fall through, right? But he's right there that, it's the same old story, right? Like we talked about in the first video. It's all technology that we had that ran well, that was non-polluting, that was cheap, if not free energy, and for the men and women of the world, right? It was actually to benefit us. And the parasites, the elites came in, and anything that they couldn't charge us for, that they couldn't control, they took away until they could work out a time, or a way to charge us for it, basically make money off us and to restrict it and use it for a control system. And this is what inventors are. Inventors, well, in the most of them, right? The ones that aren't the real men and women, inventors are just people who the system show the inventory to, right? The inventory, where they have all the tech that they stole. And the inventor goes in, he checks something out and works out how to remake it, but in their image, right? So that it can be brought back out and used to control us and to pay them.
Okay, this is absolutely insane. Did you know that Austrian researchers put students in classrooms made of conventional materials, steel, cement walls, etc., and they put students in classrooms with wooden furniture, wooden rooms, natural materials? They measured their heartbeats, okay? And the students in the synthetic, let's call it, classroom with the unnatural materials had, on average, 8,600 extra heartbeats per day per student on average. Why? Why? It's the difference between real materials and synthetics. They have a different frequency, which apparently they found that your body registers plastic, laminate, and vinyl as a low-grade stressor, even when it looks like wood or marble. So you know, remember those fake desks we had that looked like wooden desks, but it wasn't. That was like a plastic, and it's unfortunate. I mean, what does that do to your body in 10 years when you're in school you're in kindergarten, then grade school, then high school, and it's all synthetic materials. Now, not to mention, this study was done before artificial lights, like they just had light bulbs. Now we have compact fluorescent and LEDs. Not to mention all of the Wi-Fi routers that are in schools now. Like every 20 feet down the hall, there's a freaking Wi-Fi router hanging on the ceiling. That is something else to be discussed. Now, when it comes to our homes, especially if you're building a new home, I mean, dude, you can really make it an organic eco house with some easy, hacks. But what if we're at home surrounded by unnatural materials as well? Then what are we doing? Are we shortening our lifespan by being surrounded by plastic? I mean, think about it. Drywall, Chinese drywall is in pretty much all of our homes. It's toxic dust. It's toxic to breathe in, and it's mold, like it can get moldy. Whereas a hemp house or a cob house or a stone house, there's different houses that are mold resistant, namely hemp. I mean, hemp is basically a tank couldn't drive through. I mean, hemp is extremely durable, mold resistant, fire resistant, and it actually blocks EMFs. Like if you're in a house that's made of hempcrete, and you're down the hall and there's 2 rooms between you and the Wi-Fi router, you're not going to get cell service. Like that's one of the things people say when they have a hemp house is they don't get very good cell reception, which is good because you don't need cell reception on your brain stem every freaking day. But is that study shocking or what? Frequency, energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla knew all about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
Thanks, DuPont. DuPont, right? Teflon. Thanks for that one, DuPont. They coat all the cooking material, right, in plastic, basically. It's a synthetic material, and it turns into microplastics and goes straight into your food and then straight into you. But that's very interesting that they've done the studies, and it's affecting heart rates, right? So it's affecting stress levels. Do we have a stress epidemic at the moment? Let me know, right? People who work in offices in synthetic environments tend to get stressed out, sitting under fluorescent lights all day, on a plastic chair, leaning on a synthetic desk, everything is fake. And same with schools, like you said, yeah, remember back in the 80s and the 70s, and they had like that wood looking, what was it? I don't know, like covering plastic, basically. They'd put it on all the desks, right, to make them look like wood. And then underneath that, there would be chipboard, sawdust and glue instead of wood. It cannot be cheaper to make synthetic wood than it is to just cut down a tree and make wood. Right, so this is all done by design, on purpose. And of course, everything has a frequency, right, a vibration, an energy. And so if you're surrounded by dead things, by synthetic things that have not got a high frequency, a high vibration, then that's what you're going to be fed all day, because everything is energy, right? So we pick up the energy from the surroundings that we're in. This is why when you are in nature, you feel so much better. You feel recharged, right? It's a great healing place, right? The forest is for rest, right? Because your body can rest. It can absorb natural frequencies, unlike everything that the elites want us to be surrounded by in their synthetic world. So very interesting, but it's definitely time. It's 2026, guys. It's time we start rejecting this synthetic fake world, simulated world, and get back to basics, get back to nature, get back to the earth and where we're actually supposed to be, to a place that is good for us, that enhances our health, rather than their fake world that just makes us sick, so then they can sell us petrochemical drugs to make us even sicker.
You know, I've been noticing something kind of strange lately. Maybe you have too. Some folks in my life, well, they don't seem quite like they used to. They don't seem like the same people I used to know. Same faces, same names, but somehow they're different. I don't know. Like a light behind the eyes that ain't the same color anymore. It's got strange to me. I know it sounds wild, but stick with me here for just a second. What if, just what if, it's not them that changed? What if it's the timeline? Yeah. See, when we go through one of those quantum shifts that everybody talks about, what some folks call timeline jumping, you're not just changing your path. You're sliding into a whole new version of reality. Now that's something to think about. So the people around you, they might look the same, but they're not exactly who you remember. That's why they act a little different. Like their memories don't match yours anymore. It's strange, it's something strange to think about, but it is a possibility. And tell me this, did you start noticing it around the same time that you kept seeing those numbers, 1111, 222, 333? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. Now that's the universe just kind of looking at you and giving you a wink and a nod there. And each time it happens, it's kind of like reality is nudging you forward. And the more you shift, the more you start seeing people fade out of your story. While others will appear just out of nowhere, like they were always meant to be there. We call it strange, but maybe, just maybe it's the new normal. Keep your eyes open. You might not be where you think you are anymore. Let me know if you've experienced any of this over in the comments.
Well, what do you think? Have you experienced that? The whole, NPC, right? The people that we can't quite connect with, right? Who don't really see things the way that we do. And even when you try and talk to them about these types of topics, they just don't seem to compute. Have you had that experience? I definitely have. It's definitely talked about a lot. And what do you think it is? Do you think that we are timeline jumping? Is it some kind of quantum shift? Let me know your thoughts. But what I think it is, I think it's frequency and vibration. I think that we are rising in frequency, right? Those of us that are aware. And when we do that, the gap between our frequencies and the frequency of the masses becomes too great, and we literally can't connect, right? We can't vibe with them because we're on a different level. We can't sync up. Right? All these words that are talking about frequency and vibration, I think that's where the split is coming in. Another one is the Mandela effect. What do you think's going on there with the whole Mandela effect? Because that's a weird one, right? My thoughts on that, and I'd love to know yours. Please leave me a comment and a like and subscribe. The Mandela effect, I think what's going on is that we've been pulled down into a lower frequency. And this is why, all the cathedrals were shut down, all the bells were taken out and melted down, right? Everything is made synthetic. They've basically lowered our frequency into, what you could call a bit of a false reality, right? Maybe a bit of a simulation. But as we raise in our frequency and awareness, we're basically starting to see the real world again. And that's what we remember. We remember the originals, like the Berenstain Bears, not the Berenstain Bears. But those people who believe, it was always Berenstain, that's because they're on a different frequency and they are probably literally seeing something different to us. Well, that's my theory anyway, but let me know yours.
Day 4 of 100 to show the people that the Earth is flat. Follow us for not missing the next videos of that challenge. Proof 1. The 163-kilometer Suez Canal connects the Mediterranean and Red Seas without locks, allowing water to flow freely between them. During its construction, Earth's curvature was not considered. It was dug along a horizontal control line 7.9, 2 meters below sea level, passing through several lakes, with the water surface and control line remaining parallel for its entire length. Proof 2. Spherical Earth theory claims gravity magically pulls the entire lower atmosphere in perfect sync up to an undefined height, where it transitions into a motionless, gravityless vacuum. Proof 3. This is contradicted by rain, fireworks, birds, insects, clouds, smoke, planes, and projectiles, which would behave differently if Earth and its atmosphere were spinning eastward at 1,200 kilometers per hour. Proof 4. For millennia, the constellations have remained fixed in their shapes. If Earth were a spinning ball orbiting a sun that is itself racing through a galaxy, as per NASA's model, our night sky would change drastically every night. We would never see the same star patterns twice. Proof 5. If Earth were a globe spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, orbiting the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, within a galaxy moving at 500,000 miles per hour, itself hurtling through space at 67 million miles per hour, then these 4 combined motions would create chaotic bent star trails. Yet, time-lapse photography shows perfect circular star trails around the celestial poles exactly as expected on a stationary plane. And don't forget to share this video because someone needs to see it.
Ah, yes, the shape of the world we inhabit. What do you think it is? If you're a globe earther, if you believe that we're on a ball spinning through infinite vacuum of space, please leave in the comments your best proof for that, because I definitely don't think that that is the case, for all the reasons that he said. The one that got me when, gosh, when was it? 10 years ago, I guess, when I was trying to disprove, right, the flat earth, which is how most of us get into it. The stars don't change. There is no parallax, which basically parallax means that if you're looking at something, if you're looking at 2 poles straight on, you can only see one, right? And as you move to the side, you'll start to see 2. And as you move further, they'll start to, be there in a different pattern. That should happen with the stars if we're shooting through space, but it doesn't. Astrology, right? We have the horoscope, and it hasn't changed for probably thousands of years, at least not hundreds, right? It's never changed, right? Since it was created, that should not be able to exist. Star maps, right, which was navigation for hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years, again, would not work if the stars changed. Of course, there's, no perceivable curvature, bridges, like the canals, all that kind of stuff. They're built as straight, as flat, right? That should not work either if we're on a globe. There's so many points to it. There really is. But please, let me know your best flat earth proof. And what I really want to hear is globers. Any globers watching this, if you believe we're on a spinning ball in space, please leave me your best proof for that. Because I ask this question all the time and I never get a response. They don't seem to have it. And I guess the biggest clue of all is, where does all this information come from that we're on a spinning ball? The government, NASA, the education system, all things that we should not trust, because the only thing we know about these people and these organizations is that they lie and they try to control us. So I would not be believing anything that they are pushing. But there we go, guys. Another one done and dusted. Hope you enjoyed that one. Please do give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me your comments because I do read them and I love to hear what you are thinking. And most of all, stay awesome because you are. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
I get knocked down. No!
Libby, stay. Stay!
Gary, stay. Wait till I say go, okay? No, Getty, stay, babe.
Riley, look at me.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh my God, my Shayla.